All right, so I'm going to make an overall final composite. I'm going to start off with this image that has, let me see, go to my layers. It's just a couple, it has the background, and in this one image, I have all these different photos of the model in different layers. And I also have this Illustrator file that has a couple 2D drawings. I made these drawings in Rhino, imported them into Illustrator, and just to see all my different layers that I have. Again, just different line thicknesses for all these drawings, even down to some of the hidden lines that you can start to see. But it starts to add a little bit of depth. Start to turn these layers back on. It starts to add a little bit of depth to the actual drawing itself. So I'm going to copy and paste these drawings into a new Illustrator file. So this new Illustrator file that I have, it's right here. I just made a blank 11 by 21. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get everything to fit on 11 by 17, so I just made this a little bit larger. And what I want to do, delete these. I just want to start off by setting up just setting up a grid. So I'm going to turn on my grid. I have my rulers turned on. I want to make sure that I'm snapping to the grid for now. I'm going to set up an outside perimeter that is 1 inch all the way around. And then I'm going to copy and paste these drawings. So let me unlock them. Before I copy and paste, I just want to make sure I have this checked where it has the paste remembers layers. I'm going to select them all, edit, copy, go to my new file, edit, paste in place or just paste. I'm going to bring these over here. And I'm going to scale them just a little bit just so that they match the same height that I have set up. Give myself a little bit more space to work. I'm going to hold down Shift just to make sure that this stays proportional. There, now they're the height of the perimeter I just made. And I'm going to start to scoot these over just a little. So I'm going to make sure this one snaps, at least along to this edge. That kind of leaves this area right here. So I put a guideline. I'm going to put another guideline an inch away, and then move this one over. I'm holding down Shift so that it stays orthogonal. Again, I see that it's lining up really well here, so I'm going to put a guideline, and then another guideline an inch away. I'm going to move this one over. Same setup, one guideline, another guideline, and then set up my remove my final drawing. And again, set up the last 2 guidelines. There's one there, and then another one an inch away. So now I have my drawings that are set up. and I'm sticking with some regulating lines where in between each drawing there's a 1-inch gap. So I'm gonna include 2 more. I'm gonna do one like right in the center. So that would be, I believe, 5.5. So that would be 5 and 6, I believe. And I'm gonna turn off my grid. Just want to make sure that these are the same sizes. Okay, perfect. I got that all set up. Now the last thing I want to do is bring in this image, so I can start to lay this image in there. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to File, Place. I'm going to look for that image on my desktop. So I'm going to the first time I place it in here, I want to unlink the image. I'm going to place it in here. Flatten layers to a single image. So what this does is it puts this image into my Illustrator file. If I would have gone with placing it and linking it, you can see how it has a big X on here. So it still allows me to see the image in Illustrator, but it doesn't technically put this image in my Illustrator file. So if, say for example, I take this Illustrator file to a different computer, but I don't take this image with it, then this image will not show up. This image will, because this one does not have an X, and it's not linked, so it's actually in my Illustrator file. So again, sometimes it's best to link it, sometimes it's best not to link it, but just so you know the difference. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place this image, I'm going to place it right over here. I want to place maybe these two right over here, and these two down here. So I'm going to scale these. I'll probably scale these at the same time, just to show you what might happen. I'm just using my arrow keys to move this around a little bit. Just try to get a basic size. If you hold down, I can make this a little bit smaller. Again, holding down Shift to make sure this stays proportional. If you hold down Shift while using your arrow keys, you get a larger, it moves it in a larger increment. And if you just use your arrow keys, it moves it in a smaller increment. So right now what I'm trying to do is line up this one inside this box. And I'll do the same thing with these two down here. There you go. Line up these two down here in this box. And now essentially what I want to do is I want to use the crop tool. So I'll select this one. Up here it says crop image. So I'm going to crop it to the guidelines. I'll keep the bottom one as is, I won't crop it. And then this one I'm going to crop, but I'm going to get an error message because this one was linked. So it's asking me, in order to crop it, it has to edit the original one. So I just have to hit OK. So if you accidentally link it and try to crop it, it'll just give you that error. And then hit enter. Let's see what that looks like. Let me turn off my guides. That looks pretty good. I'll just add one last thing just to ground this drawing a little bit, or ground this presentation. I'm going to use my eyedropper to get that color so I can add something at the bottom down here. Just to ground it a little bit. Just going to make sure it's actually lined up on the side over here. Yeah, so I have my final overall composite that has photos that I cropped in Illustrator, that I adjusted in Photoshop, drawings that I made in Rhino, brought into Illustrator, added line weight, and then put the entire thing together with an organizing grid system.